I must say, I'm quite impressed by this new ace. This is the new Rumble Legend ace who actually has a really good regular kit. So this guy, he works very similar to Cross Guild Quick Legend, where you activate his special multiple times in the quest. He charges his own cooldown by 13 turns, and then he gets his second activation in. He's a very good character, but I'm going to go through his regular stuff after his Rumble stuff, of course. He is a Rumble Legend first and foremost. So, of course, he's 20 cost. You really want to run this guy on your team because it means you can run 8 units. So he is a support style character. He's Dex Fighter Free Spirit, but his Rumble kit is largely Dex and Free Spirit based, not fighters. A few interesting things about this guy. First off, his resistance. He's the first character to reduce incoming fixed damage by a certain percentage in his Rumble resistance. Of course, it's only to himself, but nevertheless, all fixed damage that is dealt to Ace will get reduced by 70%. So if the enemy does 10k, it will only be 3k to Ace. So very good. This is kind of in replacement of the usual Rumble resistance that Rumble Legends have, which is 30% damage dealt increase to advantageous type. So usually Ace would do another 30% damage to quick units, but instead of having that, he now reduces incoming fixed damage. He also completely resists special bind by 100%, of course, and if you do decide to give him a Rumble key, he will also get an extra 15% damage dealt increase to quick enemies, as well as an extra 20% quick damage reduction, going up to 50% damage reduction from quick enemies. Now, I don't think this is really worth it because he really isn't going to be going on a lot of Dex teams, I feel, because he does have to compete with Marine Legend Dex Ace, who is still really good at DPS on the Dex team. I think he's going to be more used on the Free Spirit team since we don't have a really good Ace there yet. In which case the resistance isn't really that important, which is very quick specific when you're only fighting against a quick team. I think the main thing is the evasion of fixed damage. That's really good. He doesn't evade anything like action bind or forced out or even confusion, so you have to consider all those things. He will prioritize targeting the closest enemies, and I think this is pretty good because he is a character you want to put at the frontmost position on your crew. I'll explain why a bit later on, but either way, he will be right in the front and he'll target the closest enemies, so he will probably target the frontmost character on the enemy's team as well. He isn't the greatest damage dealer though, so it doesn't really matter any of his damage stuff. The main reason you would put him in the front row seat is so that he takes the most hits possible. I'll explain why in a moment. So he is a 26 CT character. In terms of his stats, he is a 161 defense and 167 speed. These are pretty standard stats. I mean, if you go to characters like Nika Bonnie, their defense is also pretty similar, 154, but their speed is 280, almost double. If you don't know, in Rumble, defense and speed stats are both fixed. A character is going to have the same defense and speed at level 1 as they would at level 150. A character is just given these stats just because, I mean, meta characters like Nika Bonnie, they clearly get better treatment, but they are quite niche characters like, what's it called? Like the Brachio tank. This character is never used in Rumble, but their defense is 360, which is, I think, the highest in the game. But yeah, these stats are just given to these characters willy-nilly. That's all I can kind of say. Very average Ace's stats. He doesn't have anything too spectacular, but his kit is really good, so I'm not too worried about that. So he is a special CT of 26 seconds. He does heal a bit, level 1 in small range. I think that's 0.3 times his recovery, so it's only going to be about 100 recovery to your allies in a small range, so basically negligible, but he is doing power attacks quite often, so yeah, his normal attacks are going to be quite powerful. But his special, maxing out at level 10, of course, targets enemies within large range frontal for 20% HP reduction. So in regular Rumble, this is great. In Assault Rumble, this is terrible because bosses are immune to HP reduction. Then he's going to target one defense style enemy, one debuff style enemy, and one recovery style enemy for 100% chance of forced out for 10 seconds. Yeah, that is very good. Of course, nowadays, there are quite a few characters that are immune to forced out. Let me just think of a few off the top of my head. Like, I'm pretty sure both of these Saint Saturns remove or resistant to forced out. Same goes for the recent versus Nustro, but he's not really used in Rumble as much as his Psy version. I think also a few Kumas who are immune to forced out. Same goes for, I think, Luffy and Lucci. So those are kind of the prominent Rumble characters that you have to look out for that would evade forced out. But at the end of the day, it's only these types of Rumble characters: a debuff style, a defensive style, and a recovery style. Most of the characters I mentioned, I'm pretty sure are attack style, so that's really not much of an issue. So yeah, that's a very powerful effect. 10 seconds of forced out. Remember, when forced out is active, those characters' Rumble passives are deactivated. So the other characters that remain on the field are also going to be much more vulnerable because they're not getting all that extra HP defense that the Rumble passives or the forced out characters are giving them. Also, if you kill the rest of the entire team while those characters are forced out, you just win. So yeah, that's the main benefit of forced out. Of course, it is only 10 seconds, but the fact that you are forcing out 3 enemies means that it's very likely that you will be able to kill the entire team before they come back in. I don't think it will work out on the first activation. This is a character that you will activate multiple times in the Rumble match. So maybe on the third or maybe even second time you activate Ace, that forced out will allow you to end the match early. So it's very powerful. And then we have targets Dex type and Free Spirit class teammates for 100% chance to evade Action Bind for 15 seconds. That's very good. So not just helping himself, but he's also helping the team while also debuffing the enemies. Then he's going to target Monkey D. Luffy, Sabo, and Yamato teammates for special CT 30% reduction, and targets all enemies for 100% chance of Action Bind for 5 seconds only. Okay, so you definitely want to be running this guy with a Luffy, Sabo, or what's his face? Yamato. Because they get massive CT reduction. 30%, that is no joke. Now, at the end of the day, we have to think about what Yamatos, what Luffy's, and what Sabo could be ran with this guy. Because if you aren't running one of them, the special isn't doing as much to warrant a whole spot on the main bench. Just taking into account the fact that in Assault Rumble, this character won't really be good because, one, as I said before, the HP cut will be significantly reduced, basically negligible. But also, there's not going to be the forced out. The forced out is not going to happen because in Assault Rumble, enemies are also resistant to forced out. So the only thing you are getting is evasion to Action Bind for your Dex and Free Spirit class teammates. So in Assault Rumble, this unit is god awful. Like, he's terrible in Assault Rumble. In regular Rumble, I think he's going to be great. In Grand Party, I think he'll be amazing because he is allowing us to stall out very well. He's defending himself amazingly, which you will see in the passive. But he's also forcing out the enemies, action binding them, preventing them from using their specials, of course. So I do think in Grand Party is going to be great because in Grand Party you can win by killing the enemy or by stalling them out. So you can use this guy and get some really tanky team going and stall out the enemy. Same goes for defense teams. I think this guy's going to be really good on defense teams for stalling out enemies. Very interesting character. Not in Assault Rumble, never use him there. But his Rumble ability, this one is so good. Okay. So Dex type and Free Spirit class teammates get HP up of level 6, speed up of level 6, and defense up of level 6. If Luffy, Sabo, or Yamato is on the team, gives himself guard percent up of level 8, shield level 8 as well, and then when guarding up to 5 times in the Rumble match, gives himself special CT 20% reduction. Okay, so first off, let's analyze these buffs because they are quite powerful. So first off, they're getting HP up of level 6, which is 250 HP per level, so it's a 1500 boost in your HP. Now they did recently change they changed the rumble mechanic so that even if a character enters the main bench, so a character on the bench comes into your main lineup and they get the HP up buff, they used to come in with a not a full HP bar, because HP up at level 6, this would increase their max HP, not their current HP. But they changed it now very recently, where even if a character comes in from the bench, they first get the HP up buff, so their max HP increases, and then they go to max HP. So characters will come in with a higher HP stat now. So HP up has become a bit better just because of that, but also it is a 1500 HP increase, which is still really good. Of course, I mean, taking a look at Ace's HP is 6400. This is not his max stat by any means, because this example Ace doesn't have sockets, which massively increases stats. It also doesn't have cotton candy, and it's only level 110, so a lot of things could increase the stat, but 1500 added to that 6400 is already a massive increase. But then also speed up of level 6. Speed gives up a 5 speed every level, so that's essentially a 30 speed increase, which is pretty good. So he goes up to about 200 speed. This is of course how often a character is attacking, how far up the queue they go. That is very dependent on the speed stat. And then defense up of level 6. Defense up is easily the most important defensive mechanic in Rumble. It's very important. It reduces damage significantly. So I can't speak, bruh. Significantly. It is 25 defense up per level. So that is 150 defense. So you have very powerful passive just from the regular buffs that he's providing. So the guard percent up, you might be wondering, what is guard? For the longest time I did not understand what this meant. Guard is essentially 50% damage reduction. It's basically like guard in Dokkan, if you've ever played it. Just imagine that guard is like taking type advantage damage from an enemy. So say you are a dex character, the enemy's quick and they attack you, they deal half damage because you have type advantage. Of course, there's no type advantage in Rumble, don't get it confused, but if you activate guard, it's the same damage reduction multiplier. Guard is RNG based, it's not a guaranteed chance to happen, and it only works on normal attacks. So guard will not ever activate from the damage that an enemy special does. So this is why Ace must be on the frontmost position. If you're running him on an attack team, run him in the middle slot in the main lineup. This will make him the frontmost character on the field, meaning he will take the most normal attacks from the enemy. So make sure you are running him there. This is not guaranteed, but essentially what this is doing is giving him level 8 guard percent up. This is the chance of guard activating. It starts off at 5% without any guard increase, but with level 8 it goes up to a 45% chance of guarding. So every time an enemy does a normal attack to Ace, it's a 45% chance to reduce damage by 50%. Not only is this great for tanking damage, but then look at the second part here. When guarding, up to 5 times Sal's special CT 20% reduction. So it's going to be so easy to get this guy up and going, but you need to have a Sabo, Yamato, or Luffy character on the crew. Otherwise, this unit will see like half of his potential. So yeah, very important. I will talk about some of the best options to run for the Luffy, Sabo, or Yamato. But then also don't miss it. Shield of level 8. It is only to himself, of course. No, it's not. Stealth guard, but the shield is general. Everyone gets the shield, and it's of level 8. Now, shield is kind of a weird mechanic in this game. You can kind of think of it as... I think the best analogy to explain the shield buff is kind of the damage limiter in regular OPTC. So if the enemy has a 10 million damage limiter, and you attack with the character and they would be dealing like 100 million, they'll only do 10 million and then they will stop dealing damage. Shield is kind of similar to that. Level 8 shield would essentially give you an extra I think 400, oh, no, 400, 4000 HP as an extra bar of health. When the enemy breaks your shield, they can only do that damage. But then the next character that attacks, the shield will be gone. So essentially, it's like damage limiter, but the second the damage limiter hits 0, yes, that one character that attacked them will only do a certain amount of damage, but then the damage limiter will go away, and then the next character will deal a lot of damage. So that's kind of what shield is. It's essentially an extra HP bar that you chip away at, and even if someone comes in and does 20k spread damage, the shield will tank it. You will take no HP, no damage, but then the next character, the shield will dissipate the second it hits 0, and then the next character can deal regular damage to a character. But shield is very powerful. That's all you need to know. It can tank massive hits. But the reason why it's important for a shield to be a high level is so it doesn't dissipate from normal attacks, because it's very easy for that to happen if it's a level 2 shield, for example, because only 1000 HP, normal attacks can completely destroy that. 4000, not so easy. I think this guy's shield is very good. Let me know if you still don't understand it, or if maybe there's a gap in my logic. There's something you know that I don't. But either way, both of these mechanics are really good. He himself is not taking any damage from normal attacks, or such a low amount. It's going to be minuscule. And then giving everyone a shield is just so good. Now, his special I was talking about before isn't really as good, but you have to take into fact that he's going to be activating like 3 times at least in the quest. Not only is his CT very low, but he'll constantly be getting that reduced by his passive. Only up to 5 times, but regardless, this is going to be really good. He does give himself speed, or gives the entire, all the Dex and Free Spirit class allies, including himself, of course, speed up of level 6. So he will be attacking quite frequently, meaning that he will activate his special. So he's quite an interesting character. What do you guys think? Let me just quickly talk about some of the Sabo, Yamatos, and Luffy's that could be good when running this character. So first off, I just want to take a look at this Marine Ace. This guy is really good for the Dex team still. He does a lot of damage, and this new Ace is by no means a DPS, so he doesn't replace this guy at all. So I really don't see this new Ace being used on Dex teams. But we have to see how it goes. Maybe the support that this new guy provides is better than the damage this guy provides. But this guy is essentially giving you massive defense down to the enemy, which is a massive increase to your damage. And then he does whatchamacallit, he does 4x damage to 2 enemies with the lowest HP 2 times. So yeah, he's first debuffing the enemy, making them vulnerable quite a lot by this defense down. I mean, that's like a 175 reduction in defense. Like, for a lot of characters, that will just reduce their defense to 0, which will make them super vulnerable. But this guy, and then doing that damage to enemies 2 times, 4x, yeah, he's really good. It's very hard to replace this guy. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this Kuma because he's also a Rumble legend. This is kind of just the example of what I meant by a character usually has increased damage to their type advantaged type here, if they are a Rumble character. But the new Ace doesn't have that. He needs to be given the key. Instead, he has fixed damage reduction here, which I think is honestly way better for this type of character. But anyways, let's talk about the hybrid options. So here we have Sabo Koala. I mean, this character is an excellent DPS for Free Spirit team. Of course, a lot of people will have this character maxed out. We got like 2 free copies from Rumble. I'm pretty sure this character was available in the Kizuna box recently. This is such an old character. Most people will have them leveled on break 5. But this character will essentially provide you a lot of damage and a lot of buffs. Attack up, speed up, HP up to Free Spirit enemy allies. crit up buff to free spirit and cerebrals. So that's, I think, 30% crit in total, 5% base plus the 25% from this. So that's, yeah, that's really good for damage. Level up attack buff for evolutionary army tags, but that's negligible. We don't even use those characters. But yeah, a lot of damage, a lot of defense down, similar to Marine Ace, and then even more damage. So yeah, very good DPS. Very good option to run with this character, if I'm being honest. Then we have Oira and Yamato. This character doesn't synergize whatsoever with Ace. However, this character isn't really meant to synergize. I mean, at this point, she's essentially used as a suicide character. She dies within the first 20 seconds. In which case, her passive will deactivate, of course, since she will be dead. Meaning that this doesn't really matter. The fact that this doesn't synergize with the allies really doesn't matter too much. She will activate her Rumble special upon death, which does fixed damage. So it doesn't matter that she won't be getting attack up buff from your allies since she doesn't synergize. She's doing fixed damage, so it doesn't really matter. And she provides these debuffs to the enemies. Massive benefit in the fight. So yeah, I definitely recommend running this Yamato. Of course, since she will die quickly, she doesn't really get the benefit from Ace's special, which is the massive CT reduction. But she will still give Ace that a massive ability to reduce his own CT and increase his guard, which is the most important thing. I think that is way more important than the CT reduction from the special. So I definitely think she's still a viable unit to run. On the main line, you could run her and then she'll die very quickly. So yeah, very good option, even if she doesn't synergize with the new Ace. Now when it comes to Luffy's, unfortunately Nika Bonnie really synergizes terribly with this new Ace. So even though they both free spirit and can be ran on a free spirit rumble team, I really wouldn't recommend running them together. This guy is kind of fallen off, but he is still a decent DPS option on free spirit teams. The problem is that all he does is this. Like, this is all his special is doing at a 32 CT. Like, he's giving attack up and then doing damage through defense. For one, there's a lot more characters nowadays that allow your team to ignore this type of damage or make it way weaker. And he's not providing any sort of defensive buffs. So he's very reliant on your other characters to give himself defensive capabilities. He does revive a lot though, so I mean, he has that going for him. He's still a very viable character to run alongside this new Ace. But now let's talk about Ace's regular kit. This is very impressive to me. There's a lot of things you might miss if you are a newer player, because he does work with the special counter mechanic, which can be confused with how many times you're activating the special. Okay, so he has quite a laundry list of a special here. But let's first talk about his other abilities. So first off, he's Dex Fighter Free Spirit with Dex Super type. He does have Pinch Heal. He does have Barrier Pen, which is really good. It's only above 50%, not the best, but it's still a Barrier Pen nevertheless. A lot of characters nowadays that benefit from having Barrier Pen Sailors. A good example would be the recent Dory Legend that came out, that Dex one. He's Free Spirit as well, so he can synergize really well with this Ace and get a lot of benefit out of that Dory's Captain effect. He also has Super Tandem boosts, so I mean, whatever. I don't really care. His Sailors are very good. If filled as territory, Dex type gives everyone a base attack of 1.1x increase. This is the strongest Sailor of its kind in the entire game. We've never seen something this powerful. Remember, nowadays we're dealing like 10 trillion damage in Super Boss. So 1.1x, that's a 10% increase. That's an extra 1 trillion damage just from the Sailor ability. Like, just think about that. And then he's also increasing fighter characters' base stats by 150, so pretty good. Now let's talk about his Captain effect. He doesn't have any benefit from level limit break. I'm super happy about that. He doesn't have a super special in a rumble. So his Captain effect sets character special launch status to 1, so we can ignore that for now. He will also reduce crew switch effect gauge by 6 switches at the start of the quest. So most characters super switch will be ready right at the start. That is really good. 1.5x HP for fighters, 5x attack for them, which is quite weak nowadays, but then 5.75x if your HP is full or 25% or below. So very, very good. You could use a ship like Moby Dick and then another HP cutting special to get you below 25%, but it's much easier to just try and stay at 100% HP. Makes their dex and recovery orbs beneficial. This is super good. Not a lot of ships actually make recovery orbs count as beneficial, nor do a lot of captains, so this is a very good beneficial orb enable. And then if you use an attack boost, extends it by 2 turns, so any attack boost you use from a special will become multiple stage. So yeah, a decent captain ability. The multipliers are pretty easy to reach. One of the only captain abilities in the game to give that much switch effect gauge reduction. No cooldown, which is a bit of a problem. But there are definitely interesting ways you could use this character just because of that switch gauge reduction. And that captain ability effect to set his special launch status to 1 is also really good if you are using him as a captain. So his special, this is the main event. I think this is a very limit break expansion worthy character. He starts out at 14 tons of cooldown, and then with expansion he goes on to 13. I think you really need that for this guy to see his full potential. You'll see why in a moment. So he's first off going to apply burn to all enemies through immunities and immunity excluding certain status effects. So essentially every type of immunity except for specific ignite immunity. So that's not as common, I think. So these are already very powerful. Most commonly we have immunity excluding certain status effects or all immunity. Like 9 out of 10 times we have that. So this is very powerful. He will also reduce bind by 6 turns and then give a 3x 3-turn fighter attack boost that can be buffed twice. That is just a really solid attack boost. Only to fighters, which is a bit of an issue. If it was for fighters and decks or fighters and free spirits, it would be a lot better. Regardless, that is very powerful. So that's kind of all you're getting if you're unable to set this character's special launch status to 1. The only way to do that is either to run him as a captain or to have his super type, which is quite difficult to proc. So if you're just looking at that in a vacuum, it's still a decent special, but it's nothing too crazy. But it is very possible for you to get the super type procced. It can be used as a crewmate. You run a Luffy character, an OG4 Emperor, so Kaido, Big Mom, Shanks, or Whitebeard, any one of them, and then run a Yamato character. That meets your 3 requirement. Or you could run a Sabo or a Garp. There's a lot of options to proc this, but it will also set the special launch status to 1. Don't be fooled and think that using the character special once will set it to 1 because you used it already once. That's not how it works. It has to explicitly state that it's going to set your special launch status to 1. So that's why only the captain or the super type will allow you to get the rest of the character special. But I do think it's not too hard and it's definitely worth it, guys. So if your character special launch status is at 1, so first use the super type, then use the special. It's very important that you do that. Then he will also reduce defense up by 6 turns, the most annoying enemy defensive effect, maybe besides damage nullification. He will also then reduce his own cooldown by 13 turns. After expansion, he's a 13-turn cooldown unit. If you don't expand him, you'll still have to find another way to reduce 1 turn of cooldown to get him to his second special launch status. But then he'll set his special launch status to 2, and of course, since he gave you his cooldown, he can be used immediately. Then if your crew's HP is 10% or below, or your special launch status is at 2 when the special is launched, changes crew slots including block to dex, and then gives you a 2.25x conditional attack boost, and also gives the bottom row characters 3 turns of cooldown. Yeah, this guy's cracked, bruh. I'm honestly like, if you didn't even have that cooldown, you would have already been so good. But 3 turns, hello, it's so good. Now, I actually didn't see this, but even if you don't meet that special launch status criteria, you can still be 10% HP or below and get the orb manipulation, the conditional boost, and the cooldown. So the only thing you're missing out on is the defense up reduction. And a lot of the times you can actually buzz through defense up with massive attack boosts, just a lot of damage buffs. So yeah, I think this guy is very impressive. It is quite hard to get 10% HP or below, but it's very possible. And I mean, as I said before, the super type requirement isn't very hard to meet. And at the end of the day, he's providing a 2-turn dex territory, which is very good for super boss, of course, since we do burst over 2 turns on the final stage. He also provides a 5-turn tap timing bonus damage effect. This is not very good for damage, of course, but a lot of characters nowadays actually require you to have 5 turns of a tap timing bonus effect to provide their own abilities. So that's very good. But not only that, he'll also give you a 1.5x damage chain multiplicative buff for 3 turns, by the way. So yeah, I think this character is really good. He's providing multiple stage of an attack boost and a chain multiplicative buff. He's providing a territory, a self-proccing conditional boost going through immunity. You can use this ignite to get through enemy resilience as well, to ignore not death hits, I was gonna say revives. If an enemy revives with very low HP, you can use ignite to immediately kill them on that revive. He has utility for defense up, as I said, in a implied way. He gets around resilience, he removes bind, he gives you a full body matching orbs, he gives you cooldown, he gives you massive damage. I think this character is broken in regular content, but that's all I have to say. His support effect is attaching to all Luffy's, Garp's, Sabo's, Dadan's, Makino, Yamato, and then his own crew. And it will give the middle row recovery orbs through block on the final stage. No, when you use the supported character special. So yeah, that's very, you have a lot of control there, right? And it's very powerful recovery orbs. You can get around hunger with this. This is super, super good. Of course, if your character has a tandem orb, that won't get changed into recovery. But at the end of the day, this is one of the best orb manipulation supports in the game. Like, hands down, it's just so good. This character, do the discount multi. He's so worth it. Because not only is he on the banner, he's also alongside Jinbei. This side, Jinbei is still so good on the Nikabani team. And also on the Sai Rumble team. Like, this character is just so good. We also have San Juan Wolf rate boosted. He's the only really good character, I would say, that is rate boosted from the Rumble, regular Rumble characters. But he's really good. You need San Juan Wolf. So that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. A very long video, but I was going in depth on all these Rumble mechanics, so that even if you are new to the game, you should be able to understand what I'm talking about, what all these different mechanics, guard, shield, all this means, and how good his regular kit is, bro. Like, this character's cracked. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Tell me if I missed something. I'm always open to learn something new or to be corrected. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more in-depth details like this in the future. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. And I'm out.